We are now back in in public session because I decree it. At this point, will the clerk please call the roll?
Deputy Mayor Clark.
Here.
Councilwoman Quinn.
Here.
Mayor Chiarello.
I am here. Please join me as we salute our flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One of the things we get to do as a community is, we've been meeting as a community for over 175 years in a room just like this to not only debate policy, but also to celebrate things and recognize important events and issues. And we're going to do 3 of those things right now. Okay. We have a proclamation to recognize National Recovery Month. And will the Deputy Mayor please introduce that?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's my honor to present National Recovery Month. We are doing so with people who are on the front lines of this movement. We have in the audience tonight Tim Jackson, Cheryl Simmons, Tyler Kempson, who operate a outpatient recovery center and give people hope. And I'm very honored to give them this proclamation. I'll read it now. Whereas every day, millions of Americans prove that recovery from alcohol and substance abuse disorders is possible. Yet at the same time, millions more are struggling with the disease of addiction. Substance abuse disorders affect all communities nationwide, but with commitment and support, people with these disorders can achieve healthy lifestyles and lead rewarding lives in recovery. By seeking help, people who experience substance abuse disorders can embark on a new path toward improved health and overall wellness. The focus of National Recovery Month this September is to celebrate their journey. Recovery Month spreads the message that prevention works, treatment is effective, and people recover. And whereas during National Recovery Month, we celebrate the more than 20 million Americans who have had the courage to seek help for substance abuse disorder, showing millions of others that recovery is possible. We honor their resilience and recommit to make sure that every American has access to the services and support they need to rebuild lives of purpose and hope. Whereas the term substance abuse disorder, commonly known as addiction, is a disease of the brain, and many misconceptions surrounding it have contributed to harmful stigmas that can prevent individuals from seeking the treatment they need. By treating substance use disorders as seriously as other medical conditions, with an emphasis on prevention and treatment, people can and do recover. And whereas nearly 110,000 people died last year of drug overdoses in the United States, and the impact of substance abuse disorders is apparent in our local community, an estimated 85% of our county prison population is made up of persons with charges related to drug and alcohol abuse. And whereas the Recovery Month observance continues to work to improve the lives of those affected by substance use disorders by raising awareness of this disease and educating communities about the prevention, treatment, and recovery resources that are available. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Sparta does hereby recognize National Recovery Month in September and encourage all community residents to take part in activities and observances designed to increase awareness of drug and alcohol use. At this time, I'll Cheryl and Tyler.
Where am I going now?
You're staying right there. I'll give you this, but just thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Tyler, Cheryl, and I. It was
Right, at this time, I'd like to recognize October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas the Township of Sparta values the health and well-being of all of its citizens and supports awareness of breast cancer, which affects the lives of citizens as well as their families and members. And whereas in the United States, more than 297,790 women and approximately 2,800 men are diagnosed with breast cancer annually. While deaths from breast cancer have declined over time, it remains the second most common form of cancer and the second leading cause of cancer death overall among American women, with a staggering 4,700 lives lost every year. And whereas in recognition of the fact that mammography is the best available method of detection, long before physical symptoms can be seen or felt, and that breast cancer deaths could decline further if all women aged 40 and older receive mammograms at regular intervals. And whereas funding for research, public education about symptoms, insurance coverage for diagnostic testing, early detection, and affordability treatments are the keys to fighting breast cancer. And whereas the goal of the organization and the local affiliate is to raise awareness of the impacts of this disease and measures for prevention and early detection among the citizens of Sparta. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Sparta does hereby proclaim that October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month and encourages all residents and their families to increase their awareness of the symptoms and treatments of breast cancer. Is Susanna here? Thank you for being here today.
Sure, I can say it. This is really
The proclamation. She's on her way. She's just finished.
Yeah, she's still set. She- she has patients till 7 o'clock, and then she'll come here as soon as she's done. Do you want to come later?
So do you want to wait?
Yeah, we'll wait a bit.
We don't have to do it now. Let's wait for her to
Let's
come.
wait. Yeah.
Thing off?
It's off now, but the green light will come on. Okay. We do have one more proclamation to read, but the recipient is not here yet, and so we want to wait for a little bit. Moving on, may I have a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of May 23rd, 2023?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion or comment? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? All right, the minutes of, regular meeting minutes of May 23rd are approved. May I have a motion to approve the June 13 regular meeting minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. I'll consider that seconded as well. Any discussion or comments? All right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed or abstain? All right, those minutes are approved as well. At this time, will the deputy mayor please introduce the manager's report? Deputy manager, please introduce the manager's report. You haven't been elected yet.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Sparta residents. In the Public Works Department, the staff continues to renovate deteriorating stormwater catch basins throughout the township road network. The basins in need are reported by employees during their travels or Sparta residents. We encourage the public to help us identify road features in need of repair by calling the Public Works office or sending an email to sparta.dpw@spartanj.org. The staff has also been mowing the many detention ponds located within the township. We have recently mowed Cottonwood Trail, Triple Crown Drive, Chapel Hill Court, and Hopkins Corner Road, just to name a few. Work progresses on the new stairs and railing at the Ungerman Bridge crossing. Weather has put a slight delay on work, which is expected to be completed by the end of the week. In our Utilities Department, the Water and Sewer Utility Department staff has started handing out bottles for the second half of the year for lead and copper testing. The township appreciates those residents that have already handed back their bottles and asks those who have not to please return them as soon as possible to assist the township with the state-mandated testing. The utility director and staff have been working with Lake Mohawk Country Club, Sparta Public Works, and Sussex County with their paving projects to inspect, operate, and fix water services and valves in order to minimize patchwork on newly paved roads. Since last month's meeting, the department has taken over 360 regulation and compliance water samples throughout the township's water system and has maintained compliance. The staff in the utility department takes great pride in being proactive to maintain good water quality. The utility department has finished GIS mapping of about 65% of the water and sewer systems over the past year and a half. Staff continues to work every day to bring this project closer to completion. The Sparta Utility Department is currently hiring for a water and sewer laborer. Please see the township website for job posting. Your Parks and Recreation Department, the Sparta seniors participated in the Fall Senior Olympics last Wednesday, with our team earning several medals in various events. Overall, this is a well-attended event, and our seniors enjoy participating each year. Staff is preparing for the Trunk or Treat Halloween Fun event at Station Park, scheduled for Friday, October 27th. Registration ends on Friday, October 13th. The park staff continues to be busy maintaining all facilities and fields. Information about registration and participation for programs for all ages, workshops, special events, and senior citizen trips can be found on the township's website and in the recreation activity calendar for fall 2023. Our Planning Department, the Master Plan Subcommittee member application submission deadline has been extended to October 6, 2023. The application link can be found on the Sparta Township website. Please visit spartanj.org for additional information. I'm now going to ask Chief McCarrick to read his portion of the report. This concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor, Council, and Sparta residents.
Thank you. Chief?
Thank you, Deputy Manager Zepp. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. The Sparta Township Detective Bureau has been presenting to students, mostly at the middle school level, about cyber awareness. These presentations are mostly geared towards using social media in a responsible manner and the possible consequences of when they are not. Additionally, the presentations are given to parents and awareness of what would happen if a juvenile does not use these social media responsibly. Our detectives provide them with the expectations of the police department and what is going to be involved. And we have done this in the past to students and parents, and we've seen a dramatic decrease, that is, in the number of complaints that come in from the schools to us with any kind of cyber harassment. So we're happy to continue that. Some traffic study updates. As I have said here in the past, our department's continuing traffic studies throughout the township. The first study that we conducted was on Andover Road in preparation for the upcoming school year. The monitor was placed in the area of Faith Ann Way. For the 7-day study, there was 35,048 vehicles that were captured by our device. This is a 40-mile-per-hour zone. That's a lot of vehicles. Enforceable violations were 687. There was an average speed of 42 miles per hour. So the Traffic Bureau has been working hand in hand with the Alpine School. We have had several complaints about the school traffic. We're trying to alleviate and come up with, and we have come up with a solution to the best manner to capture and to eliminate as much traffic as we possibly can. So usually at the beginning of the year, we get a lot more traffic around the schools just because it seems like everybody wants to drive their child to school. They have the right to do that, and not everybody uses the busing. So when the school year first began, there was approximately 193 different parents that picked up their children and did not use the busing. So Sergeant Scomp, Corporal Morris, and Corporal Mustanger all monitored the traffic, came up with several plans to assist with the congestion. And the final arrangement for parents picking up their children is they must be in the designated spots, utilizing the crosswalks instead of walking through the parking lots. Security guard Sue Parks is now stationed in the roadway of Andover Road. She's assisting with the buses getting out. And just to mention that the Sparta Traffic Bureau provided all schools with online training for the security officers to complete to learn road safety and be able to assist bus traffics in the school zones. So that's going to help us out a lot. Once the buses start to disembark from the school, all private vehicles are held in place until the buses have left. And this has alleviated a large amount of the congestion and seems to be a good resolution right now. And we have not had any further complaints since we implemented that. Second study was conducted on Tomahawk Trail. This was to give us a good understanding of summer traffic, or especially around Tomahawk Lake. In the past, we have received many complaints, and this year we really saturated the area with our patrols and our traffic bureau to alleviate the complaints before they're even reported to us. So for the duration of the study, it was 9 days, and there was 18,568 vehicles that were captured by the monitor, and it's a 30-mile-per-hour zone. There was approximately 437 enforceable violations, and the average speed was 33 miles per hour. So the Traffic Bureau and the patrol officers will continue to diligently work on these roadways, especially during the summer months in that area of Tomahawk Trail. And finally, since July, the Traffic Bureau has received and investigated about 12 different traffic complaints through our online portal, and all the complaints were investigated to a final conclusion and satisfied. We're going to continue to monitor these roadways. Couple community service updates. Coffee with a Cop, October 4th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Sparta Library. They'll be hosting their annual Coffee with a Cop. We've done this in the past. It's actually the first time where I met Mayor Chiarello down there, so we encourage people to come out, talk to us about the issues you may be having, or just to come out and meet us. Again, that's 9 to 11 on October 4th. The Sparta Police Department participated in Help Bag Hunger at the Sparta ShopRite on September 14th. By bagging groceries for customers, we were able to spread the word on hunger issues within our community. The patrons were able to make donations which go directly towards our food pantries within Sussex County. And we will continue to partner in helping those who are facing tough times within our communities. Councilwoman Quinn also joined us that day. We have our police department is holding on October 13th. It's called Hanging with Heroes event. We've done this in the past. We'll be hosting this event at the Sparta VFW, and this is a chance for our community to come out and meet our local heroes, fire, EMS, our local veterans, police. We'll be providing ice cream, which is donated by Anderson Farms. We'll have music, some more food, games, crafts. So we encourage everybody to stop out, and any children that want to come, we encourage them to dress up in their favorite superhero costume. I'd like to mention tonight the retiring and passing of retired Ogdensburg Chief James Duke. Chief Duke, at age 90, passed away on Friday, September 22nd at his home with his family. Chief Duke was a U.S. Navy veteran during the Korean War. He was very dedicated to his community, and he became chief of police in Ogdensburg. While there, he served as the first president of the Sparta FOP, the Fraternal Order of Police, past president of the Sussex County Chiefs of Police Association, and he was active in the Interstate Law Enforcement Association and the Sussex County Detectives Association. He was also a member of the Ogdensburg Fire Department, a member of the American Legion. I want to say a special thank you to Chief Duke and his family for his years of service, and our thoughts are with his family tonight. So lastly, we have 2 new officers here. Going to have another officer, but she's not feeling well tonight, Elise Brown, so we'll introduce her at another time. But if I could have Officer Tuning and Officer Stoll join me up here.
You need a microphone.
There you go.
After he graduated, he attended Bergen County Community College. In 2019, he attended the Juvenile Corrections Academy in Seagirt, New Jersey, and he worked as a juvenile corrections officer for 2 years. In 2021, he became and in 2020, he moved to Sparta with his wife, Amanda. Officer Tuning was hired by the Sparta Police Department as a recruit in March of this year, and he attended the Passaic County Police Academy on a police training commission waiver. This was due to Officer Tuning graduated from the Passaic County Police Academy last week. He is assigned to the patrol division under the command of Sergeant Ely and Lieutenant Carberry, and he is currently congratulate Officer Tuning, and I would also like to congratulate him and his wife on a recent birth of their first child, their son, Aaron Tuning, the 6th.
Wow. The 6th?
Congratulations, Aaron.
Okay.
Wow.
Thanks for taking the time.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Congratulations, welcome aboard.
After high school, he also worked as seasonal help with our DPW, so he's very familiar with the roadways and sidewalks. In March of 2023, he was selected as a recruit for our department, and Officer Stoll attended the full 22 weeks at the Passaic County Police Academy, where he graduated number 2. So we're very proud of that. Which is, in a sense, Officer Stoll also graduated this past week from the Police Academy. He's currently assigned to the Patrol Division under the command of Sergeant Smith and Lieutenant Carberry. Chelsea, and they're expecting their vote. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Any relation to Bobby? Bob Stoll?
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Deputy Manager, Mayor, Council, public, I'm very confident that these officers are what Sparta's all about. I'm confident that they're going to teach them the ropes. It's going to stand back there and Sergeant Frazier. A lot of experience, so we're here for you. Thank you.
Thank you for
Stay
taking the
safe.
time to come meet us
Thank
tonight.
you.
Thank you. All right, may I have a motion to approve and accept the manager's report as presented? Thank you. May I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? All right, the manager's report is approved.
Can I-
Yes, please.
Okay. So I'm going to read the proclamation for Suicide Prevention Month. This is a topic that is all too familiar to many of us. Whereas September is recognized as Suicide Prevention Month, a time when people join their voices to raise awareness of suicide prevention, treatment, and recovery, and whereas this is a time that is dedicated to bringing visibility to the role everyone in the community can play in preventing suicide, and to encourage all community members to know the signs, find the words, and reach out to someone they are concerned about. And whereas the stigma associated with mental illness continues to work against suicide prevention efforts by discouraging those at risk from seeking life-saving assistance, further alienating and traumatizing survivors of suicide and their loved ones. And whereas education about the warning signs of suicide, the value of preventative measures, and the best methods to support those in need is essential to our community. And whereas this council, in partnership with local and state organizations, continues to leverage the collaborative efforts of community partners around development and implementation of evidence-based suicide prevention, intervention, and survival strategies. And whereas the town of Sparta continues to demonstrate its commitment to remain stigma-free around issues pertaining to mental health, well-being, and substance use or abuse, doing our part to end the tragedy of suicide within our community and beyond wherever possible. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Council of the Township of Sparta does hereby proclaim the month of September as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and we encourage all residents to take the time to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and neighbors over the next few days, and to genuinely convey their appreciation for their existence by any gesture they deem appropriate. I'm going to be presenting this proclamation, this signed proclamation, to Hillary Greenan, who is from Live Well Psychology. So Hillary, did you want to meet me up front? Keep these on for a minute. All right, turn this back. Did you turn it off?
I turned it off, yeah. Just flip the thumb.
so many times. Everyone.
For that, we. Take a picture first.
Thanks, Hillary.
Thanks for being with us
Thank you.
tonight. Too late. Thanks. Okay, at this time, I would like to open up to the public for any items that are not on the agenda. And before we do so, I will call attention to, we have a shot clock now, as you can see. We did implement this policy. It's really all about fairness and mindfulness. It might seem awkward. It'll be awkward for a while. We'll make mistakes. We'll muddle through it, and we'll get better at it. And eventually, this will just blend seamlessly into our meetings. So please be a little bit patient while we try to navigate this as well. But at this time, if there's anybody has anything to discuss with us that are not on the agenda? Seeing none? Will the deputy mayor please read the expenditures for September 26, 2023?
Sure. This is the bill list by fund dated September 26, 2023, and the grand total amount of $6,788,208.52.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the expenditures as read, as introduced?
So moved.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion or comment? All those in favor of approving those expenses, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? All right, the expenses for September 26th are approved. At this time, we have no new ordinances being introduced. There are 2 ordinances up for a final hearing. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 23-16?
The Township of Sparta amending Chapter 11-2 Retail Food Establishment Code of the Revised General Ordinance of the Township of Sparta.
Thank you. At this time, is there anyone from the public that has any comments about ordinance 23-16? And again, be mindful that we have a limit on speaking time. Seeing none, may I have a motion from the council to adopt ordinance 23-16?
I move we adopt ordinance 23-16.
Thank you. May I have a second?
We're going to discuss it after the
We'll
second.
discuss after the
I'll
second.
second.
Thank you. Any discussion or comments? Councilwoman Quinn?
Yes. So, again, I want to, first of all, I want to thank you for sending me the red line copy. That was a lot
remember
easier
this time, I'm
to
sorry.
follow. That's okay. It was a lot easier to follow along. I still have concerns about sticking our nose in, so to speak, with regard to regulation on properties that are not municipally owned. My concerns for that are the, one, I don't want to get involved with any kind of, if there's any kind of fallback or anything happens and we issued the license where we maybe shouldn't have been involved. And I also have big concerns around the ability for our staff to be able to handle the influx. You know, food trucks are hot right now. Everybody wants a food truck. Everybody wants them everywhere. And I am concerned that we are going to be able to come up with a process that is easy. That was one of the things we had mentioned around this ordinance. I don't know if that process is in place. I don't think any change to this ordinance should happen before we have some kind of online process in place to help our staff be able to adequately get through all of these requests that are coming in. So again, my concern or my reason for wanting this was simply to make sure that any food truck that was in a park, a playground, anything, a municipal-owned field facility or whatnot, that we knew who they were, that we had control over that. I just don't want to get involved with a situation of overreach. So with that said, those are the same concerns I had last time. I don't have further changes to this, other than I would recommend that we just be careful that we're not biting off too much. So I would rather see us start small, and then if we have to get bigger, rather than opening the floodgates and then trying to shut it down and go backwards. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on ordinance 23-16?
None for me.
As for myself, I believe in trying and failing and making it better and trying again. So to more specifically, this did take us a long time to discuss this policy, though on the surface sounds fairly simple. There are a lot of avenues this could go down and a lot of use cases and considerations to try to figure out and navigate and make sure it's fair and that we're treating everybody, businesses the way that we would like them to be treated. But at the same time, it would be very easy for us to make this very complicated. And so I think we try to strike a good balance. But having said that, as we go to the implementation and the administration phase, we will see challenges, we will see weaknesses, and where we can do better. And then we hope that our administration will bring those to the council's attention. And when we need to make changes, I think we can be agile and make those changes. I also think that we're coming toward the end of quote-unquote food truck season because it's getting a little bit colder. That'll give us some time to put some practices in place and have them ready for when the weather gets warmer and it becomes food truck season again. Other than that, I'm in favor of passing this as it is right now, and that's my comment. Anything else before, Andy?
I have
Anything else
one
to-
more concern.
Sure, please.
So the other thing that I was worried about with this in township-owned property, mainly fields, parks and whatnot, is the fact that we didn't want just food trucks rolling in from anywhere, just showing up in our parks, knowing that it's probably going to be a busy Saturday afternoon. And the way that this ordinance is written right now, if you're coming up for one event, you don't need to have a license. So the problem is, what prevents any food truck from anywhere just showing up at our parks? We don't know who they are, we don't know where they're coming from. So I think, to me, the very one thing,
I'm sorry, that's only for an event, so it would have to be an event at a park.
but what's an
Just to be
event?
clear.
A game? An event could be a game, an event could be a tournament. We didn't quantify what an event is, I don't
Define
think.
event.
So anytime you're going to a park, there's an event. You're going for some reason, whether it's a volleyball game, the trout derby, a softball tournament, a game, whatever it is, that's an event. So my concern is, I don't think that this provides proper protection if I am, for example, softball or baseball, and I'm having an event in a park and I secure a food truck for my event. There's nothing now preventing any old truck from showing up, being in my park, and I have no idea who they are. I don't know where they came from. They don't have a license, and I don't think that's a safe thing in our parks.
Just to clarify,
exactly.
you know, in section 11-10.5, under mobile food vendor locations, it's paragraph C, parked on public property for a public event on a specific date, a township license is required if there shall be 2 or more mobile food vendors at the event. Also, when referring directly to White Lake Field and Station Park in subsection D, parked on public property to serve the public in general, again, a township license specifying the date that it will be operating at the location would be required. So, in those, at least in those two instances, we do require registration with the township.
So, but if a truck comes up here for just one day, they don't have to register, right?
No, they do.
Unless there's one, if there's one truck, so under C, parked on public property or for a public event on a specific date, if there's only one truck, they don't have to register. All others would.
So what I'm saying is, if there's one truck and it's coming up from God knows where, because they know we have great fields and they know they're very busy. So if Mama XYZ's comes up here from name your place and they show up in our park, now we have a food truck without a license. We don't know who they are. We don't know where they came from, and they're in our park. And I mean, that to me, because I'm looking at this through my lens, right? Because my priority was trying to make sure that we had safety, it was a safety, from a safety perspective. So I'm just nervous that I don't think we did anything. We put all these things in to lock down all these other entities associated with food trucks, but to me, we left our own home wide open. And
I
I'm nervous
thoroughly
about that.
disagree with that. If you read the
Okay.
actual ordinance, it deals with that exact scenario, which is if you are going to be on White Lake Field, you better have a license, and you better have for that particular event that you're showing up. So in the scenario where you have a rogue food truck who decides, you know what, it's really busy at White Lake, maybe I think I should go down there and pick up some business. If it is as busy as we say it is, my guess is we're already going to have applicants filling out the form for the license in the first place. And so they will be in a great position to say, well, I have a license, and this other clown who just rolled in does not. The other person who just rolled in is going to have to leave. Now, I understand that may raise some issues of enforcement, but I think the mobile food truck community will figure it out. And that I think they work together. They will not look kindly on someone who follows the rules or someone who tries to skirt the rules while they're trying to follow them. So I think we can rely on our food truck community to be somewhat self-policing in this regard.
And just to be clear, every food truck, no matter any circumstance, has to have a health department inspection from the county.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
it's stated within the proposed ordinance that they do have to have an inspection by the health department, the Susquehanna Health Department, and of course comply with any other inspection requirements of the state of New Jersey. So, yeah, again, with regard to our public property, we're really limiting it to two instances under C and D, one being more general, but again, it has to be on a specific date. And you have to register if there are two or more. The other limitation is with regard to, the only other place they can go to serve the public would be White Lake Field and Station Park, the only two areas. And we do have criteria under subparagraph D that includes a township license through which the mobile food truck would have to comply.
So you're saying D is solely for the purpose of White Lake Field and Station Park?
Correct.
And the areas of operations will be determined by the manager. The manager can set a limit on the number of food trucks, and the vendor has to have a township license.
Correct.
Okay. So whether there's one truck or two or more, regardless, any truck that enters Station Park or White Lake must have a Sparta license.
That's correct, for White Lake Field and Station Park.
Okay, and then the one truck rule does not apply there.
So we carved that out specifically for an event, and maybe we need, I don't want to do this now, but other people, if you feel differently, you can make that motion that we need to define event more clearly. I think you raised a good point. An event is a tournament, something that happens on only one day, or a concert perhaps, or something like that. That if the event holder wants or feels it would be beneficial for the people attending the event to have a food truck there, that we can have something at the moment's notice and not have to go through paperwork and encumbrances like that to prevent that from happening. It was an attempt to try to be flexible. And again, there's probably a lot of places that we could really tighten things up, and every time you tighten things up, you make more of an administrative burden. I think we did a good job of striking a nice balance, and we'll learn as we find some of the holes. At least that's my opinion.
So I would recommend also that we just mark our calendars. Obviously, you're right, food truck season's over. But I think what we need to do is mark our calendars for maybe June and touch base with staff to see what they're seeing, if they think we need to make changes so that we can update the ordinance prior to food truck month. You know, the months like over the summertime. So maybe we just make a note in our calendars for next May or so.
Good point. Okay, any other comments or questions or anything else about 23-16? Hearing none, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Deputy Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Councilwoman Quinn,
Yes.
Mayor Cherubello.
Yes, ordinance 23-16 is passed. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 23-19?
An ordinance amending Chapter 2 Administration, Article 9, Committees, Boards, Commissions, Section 2-39, Environmental Commission of the Revised General Ordinance of the Township of Sparta.
Thank you. At this time, is anyone from the public interested in offering a comment on ordinance 23-19? And be mindful of our limited.
Jenny Derrick's Tap into Sparta, just confirming that this is the only change is to increase the number of people on the committee.
There are other changes. We're also adding a student representative, a non-voting, mostly a ceremonial position, participatory position of a student representative. And that student representative could come from different schools within the community. I'm not sure of any limitations placed on that, but that's the one other change. Oh, actually, there's another change as well. I think we added some rules about participation in the committee of any committee members that, and I think specifically to identify participation shortcomings if somebody who's not coming to meetings, that we could the committee could take action to remove a person for not being not attending regularly.
That's correct, Mayor. It does amend the section to provide that if you miss more than 6 meetings in any 12 months, that it can be. It's not automatic, but it can be the basis for removal from the committee. And we've also amended it proposes to amend the ordinance as to the meeting times, changing it to second and fourth Thursday of each month at 7 p.m. And that's to bring it up to current practices.
Okay, so it was 7:30?
It changes it to 7.
Oh, I think it just memorialized. I think they were in practice meeting at
I
7.
think
We
in
just didn't
practice
catch
they
up.
were doing
Yes.
that anyway.
Okay, exactly. I remember that now. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the public? Thank you. Seeing none, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance 23-19?
I move we adopt ordinance 23-19.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions or concerns?
Yes.
Councilwoman
So
Quinn?
how many meetings do they actually have a year? Because I know a large amount of them were getting canceled for a while there.
Well, the cap would be 24, but I would guess in any given year, you're going to miss 2, 3, 4.
No, I mean, is it still that they're getting are they holding them more regularly?
I think they're very regular. In fact, I can't remember the last time they canceled one.
Okay, good. So then this number 6 would be 1/4 of the meetings.
In that, and if they met every single
Because they
time,
meet twice a month?
twice a month, the second and fourth
I
Thursday.
thought they only met once, so then they're
No.
meeting twice.
Twice a month, yeah.
Okay, all right.
What does it say? It's a second and fourth Thursday? Or first and third? I think it's the second and fourth Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments on 23-19 from the dais?
I just want to point out also for anyone who might be interested, the part that was added for students is not just students from Sparta High School, they're students from any high school in Sparta. So Pope John, Vo-Tech, Veritas, Sparta High School. So I just wanted to point that out to people.
Thank you, that's a good point.
And if they're interested, how do they apply? Or
How
how
would
do
they apply the regular way? This is one of two boards that I believe are mayoral appointments. I think the other one is the library board.
So they would
But
send
they would
an
apply the same
email?
way. No, I think they would apply the same way.
So I'm just trying to be clear. So do they send an email to the mayor, or do they put in something in the volunteer? Do you want them to go online?
I would
and put
apply
in-
this, so the whole council's aware of the application, so I
Okay.
would, I
So
would
then-
advise that they would apply during the, by putting in an application through the website.
So any
But you can
student
also send an
interested-
email, I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to clarify the instructions so that
Yep.
the kids know.
Right, so I guess you can always apply through the website, as we said. I don't want to dissuade anybody from just sending an email to the clerk or to myself, and we'll make sure that gets input into the proper process. But I guess the happy pathway would be to go through the website and fill out an application. And that way, the entire council is made aware of that. Any other questions or comments on 23-19? Hearing none, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Deputy Mayor Clark,
Yes.
Councilwoman Quinn,
Yes.
Mayor Chiarello.
Yes, ordinance 23-19 has passed. At this time, would like to open up to the public for any comments or questions on any resolutions 9-1 through 9-5. Seeing none, I'd like to open up to the dais. Are any resolutions we want to carve out for a special or separate vote? 9-1 through 9-5? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve resolutions 9-1 through 9-5?
I move we approve resolutions 9-1 through 9-5.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments or questions on any of the resolutions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving resolutions 9-1 through 9-5, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Right, the resolutions have passed. Council liaison updates. We'll start with Councilwoman Quinn.
So it was a very busy 2-week period of time. I'll just warn you all up front of that. I'm going to let you speak to the health meeting. I couldn't attend because I had a conflict at work. But one thing that I do want to say, so you could talk about what happened in the actual meeting because I don't know. But one thing I do want to stress to everybody is Sussex County Department of Health and Human Services offers a tremendous amount of services. We were talking before about breast cancer awareness and October being Awareness Month. So I would encourage anyone who may not have access to, to getting a mammogram or to seeing a doctor to look at the county website and take advantage possibly of some of the programs that they're offering there. The other thing I wanted to point out to everyone is there are a significant amount of child health services that are also offered through the county. So should you be in need when it comes to children's, whether it's health, mental health, there's so many different programs out there. Please go out and take a look at their website. So I just wanted to share that note there. The Municipal Alliance, we met last week. There's a lot going on there we're super excited about. So what are some of the things that are happening? Well, we are excited. We got grant funding for a leadership grant this year. It was about $3,500. We're very excited about that. We are also looking at the programming that we're going to do in our budget, which we hope to have set within the next couple of weeks as well. We also we also confirmed the fact that we are getting our opioid money, the settlement, and apparently that money has been coming in will come in through the line item of the municipal alliance. So that money, once we confirm the actual amount that's coming in, it goes to things like LEAD, it goes to a lot of the programs that the police department does. It will also help us to fund a lot of things outside of that. So we had a good discussion at the Alliance and talked about how we really want to expand our scope of services that we are able to provide to our community. We talked about one of the biggest places where we think we can also increase our reaches in our veterans population. So we did have a discussion about that at Salute 07871. We are looking at this year and working with members of our team that also include members from the school on doing things like working out, can we get speakers to come in to various grades? What are some of the different things that are available to us now? We're super excited about that. When we meet again, I will have another update. One of the things that we can also use our opioid money for is to support our efforts in our stigma-free initiative that we started many years ago. So stay tuned for a lot of updates. We'll have updates coming in from our actual alliance, and we'll also have updates coming in as to what we're doing with the opioid settlement funding through the alliance as well. So stay tuned for more details. Also, I mentioned that the Salute 07871 team met this past week. Really excited to get back to work there and get everyone back together after the summertime. We decided, as an action item moving forward, that the Salute 07871 team is dedicated and committed to making sure that every year there is a ceremony held on September 11th during the times of the crashes to memorialize the events of that day. So we're going to work with the police department and work with the manager to make sure that we have something going, and we're going to take point on that to make sure that that happens moving forward. One of the things that we're working on is an ROTC program. So Josh Hertzberg, Pete Litchfield, John Finkeldy are all looking at ways to bring that forward, not just for the students at Sparta High School, but also at the different various high schools within Sparta as well. So something that's really exciting. We also talked about locations. We're talking about services and housing for veterans that are displaced. So we're working on that, as well as different engagement initiatives, letters with students, which Amy Hayawak is taking on, and hopefully another Veterans Day assembly at Sparta High School that we're working on as well. In addition to that, there'll be the Veterans Recognition Game that's going to be held at Lenape Valley High School on November 11th, and that is Sussex County Community College Skylanders football game, and they're going to be hosting a Veterans Recognition Game at that time. We also received a beautiful email from someone named Richard Sasson, and he is from Texas. He happened to be vacationing with his wife in Sparta and saw the Hometown Hero banners all up and down the streets. And he was so moved by it, he took the time to write us an email saying that that he is now going to this week bring this initiative to his community in Texas. And that when he was driving up and down the streets here, he got such a great feeling of what a community that Sparta is, that we celebrate all of our servicemen and women in such a way. So he was so inspired. He reached out. We had a phone conversation and a significant email chain. So I'll be looking forward to updates from him, but it looks like he's going to bring it to his council in Texas. So that's what's going on in Salute 07871. The Rec Advisory Committee also met, and we had a lot of really great discussions, a lot going on there. The new program is out. There are some new programs going on that people may be interested in. Youth Rembrandts, Youth Volleyball by Extreme. The archery program's taken off, the cross-country program's doing really well. The cricket program is expanding at both the youth and adult levels. Our seniors are thriving. I did have an opportunity to go down and join them again at their Senior Olympics in Wayne last week. It was the most gorgeous day possible, right before the rain started and didn't stop until today. It was great, really great participation. I think overall we scored fourth, but it was a beautiful day. We had a lot of seniors, and I want to thank Jean. I want to thank Emily. I want to thank everyone, the staff of the Recs and working with our seniors to make these events happen. The seniors have been very busy on trips. They have trips either scheduled or they've gone on casinos, Gray Towers, La Grecci's. They have new exercise program going on up there, and they were very happy and proud to report that they had 100 pool memberships this year at the Knoll Heights facility, which is a record. So it's really great to see that our seniors are taking advantage of it. Jim had mentioned upcoming events. I want to give everyone an update on the AED program. You've heard me talking about that before. We do have 11 AEDs now currently owned by Sparta Township. They're issued to the sports teams for their respective seasons. They are responsible to make sure that those AED devices are on the field. They're also responsible to make sure that coaches are certified to use them. They're inspected upon return at the end of the season, and the teams will be made or charged, held accountable for damage to them that could be avoided from not being cared for properly. Basic maintenance will come from Sparta Township. One of the concerns that was brought up from the rec department is that their programs are busting at the seams, but they have no space. So one of the big concerns for them is they wish that they really wish they could accommodate more, but because of the restrictions and the space that we have, it's really problematic for them to be able to do it. So we're going to be talking about some options there. As far as the parks, the White Lake 2 fields are 90% done. Trees inside are there. They brought forth, the Parks and Rec Department brought to us this significant urgency around getting lights on that field from a council, so that will be part of this plan. We also have a new initiative, so the SPARK, which is the Sparta Parks and Recreation Planning and Development Initiative, is gonna, through this committee, research, collect, coordinate, and prioritize a list of items and bring forth recommendations to the Sparta Township Council in the following areas. So first and foremost, we want to take a look at township-owned spaces and take a look at their uses. Use cases could include dog parks and paths, community gardens, pickleball courts. We also want to take a look at playgrounds. We know we need to make updates. Our playgrounds need to have inclusive equipment so that every child has an opportunity to play on a playground. We also need to make sure that we are more aware and inclusive of ages. We need age-inclusive equipment to be able to better accommodate toddlers through preteens. We want all kids to be playing on the playground equipment. Also looking at splash pads. Another area we're going to look at is current recreational space inventory and recommended updates. So that means storage, fields, and sheds at our facilities and fields, and equipment that's currently used to support all of our programs. And then also looking at things like mountain bike trails, paths, walking paths, maybe if we need new fields, facilities. The goal is that we will be drawing input from different groups. We will be looking also at the report data that we compiled from 1,700 Spartans a couple of years ago, and also reaching out to get more feedback. And the goal is to be able to have the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee come to the council with a prioritized list of different, like what we think are the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. What can we do quickly and effectively? What needs to be on the plan? What are the priorities, et cetera? So we're super excited about it. And that's what happened at the Rec Advisory Committee. So that's Sparta Parks and Rec. I'll let you talk about health, SMART, and Salute. So that is all for me. It was a busy week.
Excellent, thank you. Deputy Mayor Clark?
Sure, thank you. I also attended the rec committee. I won't, I think Councilwoman Quinn covered it very comprehensively. I'm also very excited about the committees doing an assessment of the town's needs for recreation, what they need to, better and improve an already great quality of life that we have in Sparta. And I look forward to working with them and look forward to the report that we hope they can present for town council so we can prioritize it. I know that, just speaking for myself, I have reached out to some of the stakeholders in the community, including the athletic director at Sparta High School, to sort of get an idea of what they may need. And we'll be doing that as part of that prioritization process, is to really find out what we need, what will, make life more enjoyable, make parks more accessible in the future. Next update is we're going to have our kickoff meeting for the Revolution 250 tomorrow. Mr. Litchfield from the VFW, who is a member, has graciously agreed to accommodate us. And so we will have our kickoff meeting tomorrow. And then so hopefully by 2 weeks after today, I will be able to report how that meeting went. And that's all I have.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, I'm not actually available tomorrow. I'd like to go, but look forward to hearing what transpired. I'm glad to see that's kicking off. To build on what was discussed in the Recreation Committee, I think what you're hearing is that we're starting to look at making some sound and significant investments into our recreation and livability in Sparta. We have there's a number of projects that have been kicked around and ideas, and as the Councilwoman Quinn mentioned, it's time to put everything on a plan and come up with projects for 2024, 2025, 2026, prioritized, and with the sense of urgency that it needs. Especially if I could point to two things. If recently, I don't know if anybody has Netflix. Many people probably have Netflix, but recently watched a series called Blue Zones, which makes me really, it's an incentive for you to realize that making investments in your community does pay off. And there's a YouTube channel called Not Just Bikes, which I'm also a fan of, that also talks about how to make your township livable and navigable, and those are, I find inspiring for what we can do with our town to make it a better place to live overall. Back to the Health Department committee. Health committee, our township council is our health department because our health department is managed at the county level. The health committee meets once a month, mostly to just review the activity that's taking place at the county level. So right now, there's really nothing remarkable to report from that, but just know that we do get monthly updates from county activity to make sure that our inspections are taking place when they should be, that beach inspections our beaches are monitored, and the proper procedures are followed when things don't test very well. And we're also very mindful about making programs and updating our website with information about programs and events and other resources for people with respect to the community health. I think that's all I have on my committee report. All right, so thank you. We do have one unfinished piece of business that we had tabled, and that was a resolution about one of the zones, but that's going to stay on the table for now until that gets reviewed at the planning board level, so that'll stay unfinished business. For new business, and again, new business, what we used to refer to as both old and new. So new is anything else we want to bring up, not related to committee updates. And so if anybody has any new business, I'll start with Deputy Mayor Clark.
Sure. I think this is, there was a gentleman who, a very key member of our community, Frank War, who was an architect with HQW Architects, who actually designed the building that we are sitting in right now, unfortunately passed away recently. So I just thought, given that we hold our meetings in a building that he designed, and he was a key member of this community that he should be raised up and recognized tonight. And that does it for my new business.
Yep. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. Councilwoman Quinn?
So I want to thank very much Mr. Ryan for double checking the employee handbook when it came to the trade education. I'm very excited about raising awareness to our employee base about that and making sure that it's official in our employee handbook, that we value education in the trades just as much as we do in regular matriculated learning. I think it's very important. Also, just so everyone is aware, I did bring up actually in the last meeting, and we did direct our township attorney to look into for us options that were available around short-term rentals. He did get back to us with information that we need to read and digest. So I'm hoping that we will be able to have that as a discussion item at our upcoming meeting in 2 weeks. So I want to thank you for also putting that together. I had also wanted to follow up with regard to Verizon service. I know I mentioned probably several months ago, the fact that the Verizon service on the Alpine side of town is horrific. If it's even possible, it's getting worse by the day. So it's so bad now that when you go past Reverend Brown, when you're driving on 517, which includes Reverend Brown, Pope John, Alpine School, and the likes, now you can lose service to the point where you're lucky. Before, at least you had half a bar. Now it says SOS only, no service available. This is a big public safety problem. I complained about this a couple months ago. I mean, it affects not only the schools that are there, but also all the residents. In the case of an emergency, if we needed to get a hold of people and, cell phones were the only way, anyone with Verizon service, which is a large majority of people in this town that live in that area, would be hard pressed unless they stood on their roof and put their phone to the right with maybe a piece of aluminum foil like we used to do in the good old days of the antennas on the TVs. So I am asking again, if we could please get, I don't know if this is past Verizon, I don't know, but it can't hurt to ask if there's anything that they can, if they're first of all aware that it's awful, to the point where I'm worried about it from a public safety perspective. A, maybe they're not aware of it. B, maybe something changed and maybe there's new technology, I don't know. But the teachers have constantly been complaining that as soon as they turn into the school, the teachers feel completely disconnected from the world. God forbid there was an emergency in a classroom. God forbid someone in their family had an emergency and needed to get a hold of them. This has just been a constant complaint. And again, maybe it can't be fixed, and that's okay. But I feel like I just want us to try. So if you don't mind, could you please, yeah. And again, this is not like, oh, I'm upset because of whatever, that's fine. I mean, we if you have an iPhone, you have a phone that can go over wireless. So, but for coverage in that area is just a mess. So I appreciate it. The other thing is, I wanted to set a date where we could do to work back from for the Smart 9/11 press release to get people. We were going to do a press release about getting people from the community and business owners to sign up for our Smart 911 service. So I think we just need to put together a press release, and I just want to be able to set some kind of date to back that up to. It's been a while since we ran an actual campaign, and I know that we were waiting for the new selections that were going to be available, and they are now. So maybe we could just get together and draft something up and get that out so people can sign up. I mean, we're looking at storm season now, so I'd like to try to get more people signed up for it. And that's it for me.
Thank you. For myself, I think I'll only add one thing. I don't think I mentioned this last time, so if I did, stop me. There was I know in the past, the mayor had offered a Meet the Mayor event at the library. We have a Coffee with the Cop coming up, I believe next month. So I wanted to try to do the same maybe have a pomelo with Mayor Chiarello, something like that. Along those lines, I think we're going to, I'm working with the library right now to create to find a date, a monthly date, where we can meet a council member or two council members. We can't have more than two at a time. But to have a regular date, some maybe late mornings, some evenings, we'll mix it up where one or two council members can avail themselves at the library to just have a conversation, ask questions, in a longer period rather than having the glare of a public meeting, have a more intimate session, maybe over a cup of coffee. So I'm, like I said, working with the library to come up with a date, and when that happens, our members of the council will sign up and we'll make ourselves available for that time. So hopefully in the next meeting or two, we'll have something more formal, finalized. And that's all I have. At this time, I would like to open it up to the public for anything that you can think of. And again, be mindful of our time limit.
Jenny Derrick's happened to Sparta. Chris, just a note, there is it's a JROTC project. I think, was it you that brought up ROTC?
Yes.
So the JROTC junior, well, they were talking about it at the high school. They've already talked about it, so that's good. I'm glad to hear they're moving forward with it.
Well, wait, let me rephrase. The high schools, right now, the members of the Salute 07871 team are they're going to be meeting, I think Josh is meeting with the high school and some of the other schools, but we're trying to really bring it forward.
Great,
So,
thank you. I just had questions about updates for, you mentioned 90% of White Lake Field project, this phase is completed. Do we have an estimated date when that'll be done? What still needs to be done? Was there a hold? I understand the gates had been locked for a few weeks. Were they waiting for payment? What was the problem there?
I believe it's been completed, it's been accepted. We did a closeout on the final payment to the contractor. On this phase of what's being done on that. I think now the Parks Department is waiting for, the sod and the seed that they put down to fully, take root. And I think they're shooting to possibly use it in spring. They've been actively really trying to keep the trees alive, watering them, believe it or not, even though we just got hit with this rain. I know about that. On the gates, I'm not sure what you're referring to on the gates so much, Jenny, but I
Yeah,
can.
for a couple of weeks, people were saying for a couple of weeks they were closed prior to the last meeting.
On the new side?
Fields.
The new
because
side.
They're not open, that's
Well,
why.
I know, I think entrance to the park itself, they were locked. They're open, okay. Thank you. Perfect. The salt shed, an update on the salt shed?
Open next meeting and tell you it's all done. It's 95% done.
Okay.
Very pleased with the way it came out, right on budget, under schedule. I was very, very happy with the way it comes out. Very soon, you guys are invited to come up
I
and
was
take a
hoping
look
for
at
you
it.
to say that. Grand opening?
It is going to be a great asset for the township. And when you see it, you'll understand why, because of the investment we made. It will come back for us in many ways.
Have we reached out to any other communities or municipalities about the opportunity to have them have their salt with us, which was the big selling point on this?
Well, I wasn't here for those discussions, so I'm here now. But no, we haven't reached out yet. I'm not quite ready to start filling it with salt. I am looking forward, though, to seeing what the bids come in with the new salt price. We've had 2 years of soft winters, so I'm anticipating a nice low cost per ton for salt. Bids are out right now for the co-ops around us, Sussex Co-op, the Morris County Co-op. So I'm looking forward to seeing the low cost on salt, and then we'll invest appropriately for the space that we now have.
Thank you.
It is, what I think is going to happen is we're going to put in as much material as prudently there. And then our neighbors, if they ever come into dire straits or in need, we'll be there to support them.
I had one more.
Mayor, there's time's up.
Yeah, so we can avail ourselves after the meeting review. Thank you.
Access to Upper Lake, I'm sorry, to the upper access to Glen.
Okay.
Sparta Glen.
Can we talk about that after the meeting? I promise I'll stay here. Thank you. Anything else? Any other members of the public? All right, seeing none. I don't know what to do with the rest of my Tuesday evening. No, that doesn't work that way, thanks.
Yeah,
We can avail, I will avail myself after the meeting, we can have a conversation. That,
Where are we with the Upper
have your
Glen
name and address,
access?
please?
Heather Diane, Walk Hill Road.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Access to the Upper Glen, updates.
Oh, you're talking about the Eagle's Nest. Okay. Can you provide an update?
You can go up there now. The parking lot has been virtually complete. It's been cut out. Right now, we're working, the Parks Department has been so overloaded with field work that they haven't been able to address completing the trail that connects to the Upper Glen Trail. It is roughly cut out. The ash trees have been removed, and we're in process of completing the connection trail from the parking lot to the Upper Glen.
As I mentioned at the start of the meeting, we'll figure this out. It'll be awkward. We'll make mistakes. We'll get it better, and then we'll get it better again, and we'll tweak it again. But again, this was put into place to be mindful and fair.
Wait, did you start the clock when she went up there?
Yes.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did?
Yeah.
I can't see it.
Yeah. It's hard. We didn't know where to.
can only
We
see
had wanted to
this.
put it where the
I
clerk
cannot
can see it.
You get a mirror.
We do have an alternative clock, one that is like red
Sorry,
light, green
Jenny,
light.
I didn't even see, like, I can only see it from the side, so I didn't even see it there.
We do have a red light, green light type of thing that we also purchased. So we're going to try out different things, see what's better and what's more visible and what works better. And again, we'll muddle through it and we'll make it better. And eventually this will just become seamless. But I will avail myself at least for a while after, entertaining any questions if anybody wants. And again, this is one of the reasons why we're going to hold a monthly event at the library to have a more informal but longer question and answer if you have anything to discuss with us. Anyone else from the public? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Thank you. May I have a second?
just before I second, I just can't help but point out that I think we saw tonight the problematic nature of this, which the balance of Ms. Derrick's time was taken up responding to her questions. She is a valued member of not just the public, but she also a public service, which is she asks questions that the public wants answers to, and then that the balance of her time is then taken up by us answering it. I don't know if having a conversation that's not televised and not available to the public is really what I would call a reasonable alternative. So I can't help but point that out, and I do hope we figure this out in a way that's fair to the community and gives the public what we want, the most transparency possible. Thank you. And with that, I will second the motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.